But today, I'm very glad to see all of you. I know most of the time, Venerable monks are very busy with their own temple activities, and I sent email and also WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger messages, and some of you said yes. So I'm very happy to see all of you. So today we have Venerable Bhante Varrapanyo. He's joining the discussion all the way from Italy. It's midnight, and he's also doing a lot of Dhamma mission. So he's in Italy for this mission, and I was told he's going to Turkey, from there to Sri Lanka, then coming back to Italy. So amazing to see the venerable monks are traveling and spreading the Dhamma for the greater benefit of all sentient beings. So thank you for joining the discussion all the way from Italy in midnight. And we have Venerable Trudeau. He's joining the discussion from Florida, United States. He was also traveling for some weeks. Now he's back at his home center in Florida. So I'm very happy to see you. And also thank you for joining the discussion from Vietnam. And then we have Venerable Bhante Kusala. He's joining the discussion all the way from Boston, United States. He's also busy, and he just joined the discussion after another discussion he had at Harvard. And very thank you, Bhante Kusala, for joining the discussion, and we greatly appreciate your insights sharing with us. And then we have Venerable Bhante Sanat Vihari, another busy monk. He has been doing a lot of Dhamma missionary activities for some months, going to Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, and you made actually a lot of friends, new friends. Also, you went to Australia too from there and did a lot of Dhamma programs, meditation sessions. So very happy to have you back for our bi-weekly discussion. Then we have Venerable Indiparapi Dhammasiri. He's actually from Sri Lanka. These days he's visiting us, and he's the what we call the head of the monastic college in Kandy, a well-known monastic college, and he has more than 400 novice monks receiving the training and education. So he's just visiting us for a short time. So I asked him to join the discussion, so he's here with us. And then we have Venerable Bhante Jayasara. I know sometimes you join the discussion from New York, sometimes Washington, D.C., sometimes New Jersey. I don't know where you're joining from today.
I'm in Colorado for the month
Yeah,
now.
oh my God, you're in Colorado this time. See, this is the beauty of all the monks now from different worlds, different countries. So very happy to see you. Thank you for joining the discussion. And I don't know whether you had this solar eclipse view, but we did. But in Mississauga, in Toronto, it was cloudy, but I was able to, it was dark, but I was able to see at least some. But a lot of people had great view in the Niagara region. So on this day, solar eclipse day, and also on the International Buddhist Day, we are having this bi-weekly discussion. And we have some lay devotees who are here in Zoom platform. I would like to welcome all of you to our bi-weekly discussion. And also I would like to give a warm welcome to our friends who are watching this program on Facebook and YouTube Live. And I have a kind request from all of you and our friends who are watching this on Facebook and YouTube. If it is possible, please share this program in the social media timelines for the greater benefit of your friends, colleagues, and family members. Sharing Dhamma is the best gift you could give to someone. So today we are going to have a very open discussion based on a sutra called Akkhana Sutta from the Anguttara Nikaya. And before that, I just would like to, and I'm going to invite Venerable Bhante Kusala to give the summary of the sutra. But before that, I would like to ask you a question, general question. What do you think of this solar eclipse? I know uh, sometimes people, in some religious tradition, they think it's bad, it's a negative energy. But in Buddhism, personally, we have different view. I'm wondering whether you have anything to share about the eclipse. Anyone? No? Okay. Nobody would like to say anything? Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It feels good. I don't know what it is, but it feels good. And I think anytime there's a significant event or a significant sight, something stands out, something
Yeah.
bright or dark, that's a
Yeah.
reminder for the Dhamma. That's a reminder for the practice, and the kind of profundity of our experience so that we don't get lost in the small-minded things, but we step into the practice, we go to the Dhamma. So
Yeah.
opportunity for taking refuge, perhaps.
Yeah. Thank you. Anyone else?
Um,
Yeah.
I told my students they would be engaging in the precept of entertainment. So protect your eyes, go indoors, and continue to practice meditation.
Okay, that's very good. Um, And actually, for me, I did a Facebook Live on this based on the sutra, and there were a lot of people who actually joined and watched this program. And I received a feedback. One family was especially relieved, and the mother said her daughter was told that is bad, is very negative, and is not going to bring any success or happiness into our life. So this little girl, I think she's 7 or 8 year old girl, she was disturbed by that, and she did not go to school. She felt bad, and she was concerned. And then this afternoon, after watching my live program, she felt so much relieved. She said, "Oh, it's not a bad thing; it's a good thing." So she continued listening to this program with her mother, and mother was kind enough to send me the feedback, and was very happy for that. Anyway, so I think I don't know whether Bante Kusuli, you have anything to say about eclipse?
Thank you, Bhante. I will, yes, begin with the eclipse experience I had.
Uh-huh.
So we were at Harvard with a bunch of professors and many students, and many people at Harvard Science Center were watching, they've gathered to watch the eclipse,
Uh-huh.
and they were giving away these solar sunglasses. And so it was very bright here, and we learned that only 93% of the full eclipse can be viewed from where we were. So I think we got most of it. One of the things that a professor shared from the Tibetan tradition, she's specialized in Tibetan Buddhism. She said something so interesting, and that is that in Tibetan belief, if you make some merit during the day of an eclipse, it has 1,000 times of the effect of it. And so if you have done any meditation today or anything good, the merits is 1,000 times bigger. I guess I understand that because the sun, the moon, these are involved. These have an impact on the human mind, human world. And recently, somewhere, well, in New Jersey and in some parts of Massachusetts, they had an earthquake. I think followed with the tremor. And that means that Earth is also trying to take the attention of humans away from the sun and moon, because everyone was focused on only the sun and moon. And I think no damage occurred, and that is a good thing. But overall, we as human beings sharing these precious energies and precious presence of the sun and moon, if we are living a spiritual life, I believe that we look at everything with the eyes of spirituality. But if you are cultivating unwholesome practices, maybe we look at the world with these unwholesome eyes, especially for someone who may be dealing with a negative pace of their life. Everything may look negative. But when Bhante live streamed your talk, I watched some of it, and I felt so comforted hearing that you were saying, no bad will happen. And that, I think, when that came from a voice of relief and voice of inner peace, I'm sure many people like me, many of us felt that peace coming from you, and I really appreciate that, sincerely appreciate that. Yes, in Chinese astrology, they say that I have a friend who speaks from the Chinese astrology perspective, and he says they believe in some traditions that the eclipse can be disastrous, and I can understand why that is. That in previous experiences of humans, that even animals have been confused, that they fell from trees thinking that it was the night and again it was the daytime, and we didn't see much of that happening, the crickets making noises or bunnies coming out. We did see bunnies at Harvard Yard, but they were just there on other days as well. Some people said here they saw some hawks, and I saw birds. They looked like crows. But again, the when you know the moon comes to full circle, sometimes the ocean has an effect on it, and there's high tide and low tide. So likewise, these things do impact the universe in multiple ways, and that is a sign that we should not be negative, but we should be prepared and cautious and be taking this precious life seriously and be living every moment as meaningfully as possible. That is my take on it so far, and I believe our venerable monks have more to share.
Thank you.
Is this the time to go to the Sutra, Bhante, or?
Give me a second, and also I would like to see whether Venerable Jayasara has anything to say about Venerable Sanat Vihari.
Nothing really, Bhante. I mean, I have a story of in 2015 at Bhavana Society when there was a solar eclipse there. I was in Anagarika, and I set up a table outside with all like different ways to like look at the eclipse and to see like the dapples through the trees, that have the eclipse. And Bhante Gunaratana was out there like looking through things, and so it was just kind of a neat event for the monastery, just to do eclipse stuff. That's all. Other than that, I don't really have much to say about the importance of it in a spiritual way.
Yeah, thank you. Venerable Bhante Sanat Vihari, do you have anything to say about eclipse?
Bhante, no, I don't have anything to add.
Yeah. Actually, there are people who believe in these things, and So, and in some spiritual traditions, or devotees have been encouraged to get closer to the Dharma practice. Even this afternoon, we had few devotees of Indian tradition, and also they just came to meditate. Maybe, as Bhante Kusala said, how in Tibetan tradition they highly encourage the monks and nuns and lay people to meditate, because it will be meditation experience. The joy and peace experienced through meditation will be lasting longer. So thank you. So now I would like to invite Bhante Kusala to give us the summary of today's sutra that we are discussing. Bhante Kusala from Boston, United States.
Thank you, Bhante. I would also add one more thing to the eclipse discussion, if you allow me to.
Yeah.
This is something I shared in a Dhammachinta group that I have, and I send something every morning. This is from the Nakkhata Jataka, where the Buddha kind of give an idea of how to look at astrology and stars and sciences and alignment of stars and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm sure our venerable monks have heard this before. So I'm just bringing it to your memory here. It says, Nakhatang patimanetang atho balang pachaga atho attasa nakhatang kinkarisanti taraka itiva iti eva rupaya tirachana vijjaya michha jiva pativirato hoti. The English, I think, is what everyone wants to hear, which goes as the fool may watch for lucky days, yet luck shall always miss. It is luck itself is luck's own star. What can mere stars achieve? This is Jataka 49.3, and there's a little bit more. And this is from Diganikaya 2. They refrain from such unworthy branches of knowledge, such as wrong livelihood and astrology and stuff like that. Especially fortune telling is something that monks are not encouraged or somewhat banned on doing. So that means if anyone is using them for building a career of some sort as a monk, they are missing the message. Having said that, let's now also look at the eclipse as a rare thing that happens, and the next one they say will come in 20 years, and that is 2 decades. And if you think of it, you will be 20 years older from from now, and so you can save those eclipse glasses and keep them as souvenirs, because you may need them later. So enough about eclipse, and I'm now switching our attention to the Anguttara Nikaya, and this discourse is in numbered discourses in the chapter of what contains of 8. So these are grouped under Attaka Nipata, the collection of the 8. And there's a section called Gahapati, householders. And so this is important for householders. In that Gahapati Vagga, you find this Akkhana Sutta. So Akkhana has this same effect as Akusala when you divide the prefix and the word there. So Kusala is wholesome, Akusala is unwholesome, and Khana is the moment, Akkhana is not the moment. That is how I think you can understand it. So many monks have translated this title differently, and I have brought them together. I like Bhante Suddhaso's translation. He translated Akkhana as no opportunity. And Bhikkhu Bodhi translates it inopportune moments, looking at Khana as a moment, and but because Sujato translated that lost opportunities. They all have meanings, but I'd like to stick with no opportunity. And when it comes to an opportunity, you can think that, some in a recent discussion, this one person asked, why is it bad to be born as an animal? And sometimes animals live a happy life, they get all the comforts, and I think this sutra answers that question, and you will find out toward the middle of the content that you will hear. So there is no opportunity for you to attain Nibbana, to understand Dhamma Vinaya. That is the kind of opportunity we are talking about. And one of those is that Buddha has appeared in the world, and he has rightly declared that he is enlightened. He teaches the Dhamma as well, but you are born in hell. Because of that, you have no opportunity to understand or practice the Dhamma. The second one is Buddha. It's all of these are related to the Buddha. The Buddha has appeared in the world. He teaches the Dhamma, and you are an animal. An animal cannot understand these Dhamma, these teachings, and they cannot practice Vinaya. But animals can be good. Their behavior can be good, but they cannot understand dependent origination. They cannot comprehend. They can hear, but they cannot comprehend the message. And that way eliminate lust, hatred, and delusion and be awakened. And the third lost opportunity or no opportunity is the Buddha has appeared in the world, and you are reborn in the domain of ghosts. And there you are so occupied by your attachments as a ghost. You are, attached to something, or you are in that realm, and there's no opportunity for you to understand the Dhamma. The fourth no opportunity moment is you are reborn as a divine being with a long lifespan. Divine divine beings are various. They show up in the discourses in various forms, and this particular divine being lives a long time somewhere, but they have no access to the Buddha, no opportunity to practice the Dhamma. And this is kind of hinting that being a human being is better in that regard to understand Dhamma. But there can be divine beings who have attained some stages of awakening and live as divine beings, living their mind focused on the Dhamma. So that is a discussion for another time. The fifth lost opportunity is that the person, you are reborn in a distant country, surrounded by unwise, the translation goes as barbarians, where there is no monk, no nun, and no lay disciples, male or female, to go to and understand any bit of Dhamma. That is the fifth opportunity. You can think of some distant, remote places where there is no Dhamma, or it is banned there. And so I don't want to name any place. There are people living in those places now. The world is very much global, and they may have access to the Dhamma through YouTube and other media, but that too may disappear or didn't exist a couple of decades ago, and that is the time that they don't have access to Dhamma. The sixth one is the person has been born in a central country that is also very remote, but they have wrong views. And the list of views are given in the sutta. They don't believe in dana. They don't believe in results of good or bad karma. They don't think that they should look after their parents. They don't believe that divine beings exist. and they don't believe that contemplatives who practice and gain higher level, gain higher understandings can exist. So they have all these wrong kinds of belief, and that is the sixth kind of person who's born in central, somewhere in a central country, in a huge country, and they are actually lost. They have no access to the right teachings. And the seventh one is that the Buddha has appeared in the world, and this person has been born in central country, but they are foolish, and they are incapable of knowing the meaning of kusala and akusala. They are incapable. They are born as human beings, but they can't understand what is good and what is bad, and that means they are losing an opportunity to cultivate good. And the eighth one is the Buddha has not appeared in the world at all, and he does not teach the Dhamma. That means you may be born very intelligent and reborn in a central country, and you may be intelligent, capable of knowing and understanding akusala and kusala, what is wholesome and what is unwholesome, but there is no presence of the Buddha, no presence of the Dhamma, so there is no opportunity for you to cultivate your spiritual life. And then the Buddha brings up a ninth one, that is when all these circumstances are present, that means the Buddha has appeared in the world, he teaches the Dhamma, he has declared his full awakening, and you are capable of knowing the Dhamma, and you are very wise and very intelligent, and this is a very rare circumstance. And in that moment, when you hear Dhamma, because you are very wise, very, very intelligent, you are drawn to the spiritual practice, spiritual path, and you are not going to miss that opportunity. So think about those beings at the time of the Buddha. They abandoned great fortunes upon hearing one word or two lines of wisdom, and they told their servants or helpers, house helpers, take all these things. This is not my wealth. This is not what I am here for. I want to meet the Tathagata, the perfectly enlightened Buddha. Just hearing that word Buddha, they just abandoned everything and went so far. They abandoned kingships. So now you can think of why those really high status persons, they abandoned all these things and overnight changed. And they had the potential to understand Dhamma, and they seized that opportunity. So we as beings born at a time where there is no Buddha, but Dhamma Vinaya is present. And the Buddha has said that as long as there are beings who practice Satipatthana, four foundations of mindfulness, the Dhamma and the fruits of Dhamma will not be lost. So we are very, very fortunate that way. Twice fortunate. We can see the eclipse. Our eyesight and hearing is good. And again, fortunate that you are here listening to this discussion of Venerable Monks, and you are able to get the message through. You are very, very, very fortunate that way. And that is the summary that I will bring to the table. Thank you, Bhante.
Amazing. Thank you, Bhante Kusala, for giving us this summary of this very meaningful sutra about the 8 lost opportunities. And I'm very positive all of you have read this stanza in the Dhammapada, where Buddha is saying that Kicho manussa patilabo kichang machana jivitang kichang saddhamma savanang kicho buddhanupado. So that means hard to gain is birth as man, human being, hard hard is the life of the mortals. Hard to get is the opportunity of hearing the Arya Dhamma, the teaching of the Buddhas, noble ones, and hard it is for a Buddha to appear. So, what is so hard? Actually, we have that opportunity. Now here, we are born as humans in the human world, the Manusaloka, and we also have uh, the presence of the Buddha, though not through the physicality, but we see him through his teachings. We have the Dhamma. We have the opportunity to listen to Dhamma. So this sutra actually kind of giving us a warning, right? Like we have to understand the fact that what does it tell us and how do we take this? And looking at all these 8 types of lost opportunities. Now this is the maybe we can reflect on these 8 opportunities and how we can practice the Dhamma, benefit from the Dhamma. And so I would like to invite all of you to maybe share your view, your understanding, and how you take this. And so I would like to invite Bhante Jayasara, who is joining the discussion this time from Colorado, United States, to maybe share your view, your understanding, and maybe you would appreciate yourself, I think, being a Buddhist monk, United States, you got all this opportunity, you're trying. So what do you have to say?
So this is an interesting sutta to come up because in my community that we read the suttas together every Sunday, we've been reading the Samyutta Nikaya, and there's a whole section of the Samyutta Nikaya where the suttas are, Bhante Sujato translates them as missing out.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like FOMO. It's like building a fear of missing out. It's like, you have all these good opportunities. Don't miss out on the practice. Don't miss out on developing sila. Don't miss out on this. And so this sutta is a similar thing to that.
Yeah.
Because it's funny when we read the suttas, we see there's clear examples of monks who you're so lucky to have been born at the time of a Buddha. You become a monastic at the time of the Buddha, and you just totally waste it. You just throw it away. Like the monk who, after the Buddha had the parinibbana, is like, the Buddha was always yelling at us to do all these silas and all these rules. Now we don't have to do it anymore. Right? So this is a person who doesn't understand and has no gratitude for the Mangala Sutta, right? The blessings that lead them to having all of these different qualities that they should not you should have a fear of missing out on that. Right? Like, I'm a human. It's like me. Like you said, I'm a human. I'm a monk. I can hear the Dhamma, from all over the world, different teachers. This is a wonderful opportunity, so I shouldn't miss out on that.
Yeah. Actually, this reminds me of my own mother. Actually, when of course she died in 2015, and when she was here with us, of course, as a monk son, I tried my best to encourage my mother to practice Dharma, to practice meditation. I couldn't do such things for my father because he died in 2003. So I remember my mother would go to the 10-day retreats, sometimes 2 times a month. So here's what she said. She went to this 10-day retreat, and then she returned, and then she was getting ready to go to the next one after 2 days. And my sister got kind of disappointed. I said, Mom, you just came from one and you're getting ready for the next one. So you must be exhausted, tired, and what do you have to do? Or, then she said, look, oh, my daughter, if I don't get rid of all the suffering in this lifetime, I will have to be reborn with the same suffering next lifetime. So she was that, urgently practicing Dhamma. I think she did not want to miss out the opportunity. So I did not think about this now after reading this sutra because of my mother actually knowing or unknowingly had this understanding. She was trying to practice Dhamma to remove the suffering, to become free from suffering. Okay, so I see Venerable Trudeau from Florida. What do you have to say?
Salutations to all of the most venerables here present today. First and foremost, thank you for meeting and inviting me. Venerable Sanata Vihari, to meeting me in Vietnam. I've waited a very long time to meet you, and just a beautiful human and soul that you are. And thank you for Venerable Varrapanyo for also giving me the good news that his teacher was in town in Hanoi. And as a direct result, I got to meet one of the greatest teachers in the world. And today, my contribution has a lot to do with the conversations that Venerable Varrapanyo and I discussed. And I would like to cite number 5, as I went to 3 countries, which is Thailand, Laos, and Vietnam so far. My trip was cut short because my father needed me to come back as he was activated for a case in Vietnam. And here I am. When looking at this, I just wanted to contribute so far is it talks about uncouth foreigners. And when we look up that definition, it means the foreigners that are lacking good manners, refinement, or grace. And as I was traveling, I was discussing with Venerable Varrapanyo places that I don't know would be conducive to practice. I just don't know the social situation, the political situation, the manners of the people, the faith of the devotees, and so on. So I was just traveling, having no agendas, and trying to measure on a scientific metric system as to a good place conducive for our Theravadan practice. And what I conclude throughout my trip is Laos, it won my heart in regards to all of the bhikkhus and most venerables that were there. And they were so chill. And the people were so chill. And they're so poor. And they give so much. And it was very emotional to depart. And a lot of people ask me, how come you chose Laos? And my justification was to replicate, we're trying to replicate what the Buddha saw, which is the sights that he's seen, which is he saw old age, disease, death, and a holy man. And I was fortunate enough to stay at a monastery called Wat Dondu in Vientiane, capital of Laos. And this monastery had a cremation there. So I got to see all of these sites and we traveled from north of Laos to south and then back. Got to see, half the country in a matter of 14 hours was amazing. And so out of all of the elements that we see here, yes, people should seize the opportunity when a monk travels to your geographic location. Blessed are those who got to meet Bhante Sanata Vihari. Blessed are those who got to meet Bhante Varrapanyo. Blessed are those who got to come across Venerable Sarnapala. And blessed are those who also got to meet all of the teachers. That it was a very small window of opportunity. And in life, isn't it so that life is filled with missed opportunities? That sentence there alone can have someone reflect for a very long time. Perhaps the completion of the whole eclipse. That life is filled with missed opportunities. Life, and in that opportunity, one sentence uttered by a venerable or even a novice monk could bring you to full enlightenment, skipping all of the other stages and just go straight to full enlightenment. And so this sutta brings so much joy and happiness. It brings so much depth and gratefulness that we have been born in this lifetime, the ability right now to hear, listen, and to see, and to understand comprehensively and effectively the sutta and what we need to do, and remind ourselves that the problem is we think we have time. And the problem is we also think that we have so many opportunities awaiting for us, but that is not the case. As I was there on the second funeral in the 2.5 weeks in Laos, a gentleman, 49 years of age, a father of 3, passed away in his sleep. So if he were to think, and if we were to also think that we have so many opportunities and we are so young to wait this out, or to wait for the right moment, for Bhante Sanatavihari and Varrapanyo to come again in Italy, to come again in Cambodia, it would be a mistake. To wait again for Venerable Chidao to come see you would be a mistake, because we don't know, even us monastics don't know where the wind is going to take us. And the opportunity that would open up for us. So this is for wise reflections. This obviously encompasses the teachings on rebirth, which I gave extensively over the past 12 hours. This opens up the teachings on karma. All in this sutta alone encompasses so many reminders of what it means to be human, the short time that we have, and the short time we have to meditate, and to find the wise friend, the Kalyanamitta, on the path, and to rejoice in the place where we are, where it is still safe as it can be, and we have people to communicate with, the existence of communication, the existence of all of the Dhamma books, the Nikayas, and so it just makes me very happy contributing so far to the sutta, and I'd like to yield the floor back to the rest of the venerables.
Yeah, thank you, Venerable Trijal, for sharing your insights, your experience of your recent trip to those countries, and how people are practicing Dharma and without wanting to miss the opportunity. And I think in traditional Buddhist countries, people are very devoted to their own practice. I have seen the same thing in my recent visit to Bangladesh, how they are practicing Dharma daily, and they are very devoted. And so I would like to hear from Venerable Bhante Varrapanyo, and like looking at this sutra and looking at these 8 lost opportunities, and how do you see them, and then you being a Western monk, American monk, and being practicing Dharma, how does it feel like, that do you feel like appreciating what Buddha is talking about here in this sutra, and how do you see your fellow members practicing the Dhamma?
Thank you so much, Venerable, for this opportunity to share. And I'm really a bit struck by how precious this opportunity is, and this format actually is, for reaching people and giving them a opportunity to hear from monastics from different experience backgrounds and cultural backgrounds who are skillful in speaking English and to a large degree conveying the Dharma. I think what stands out most strongly to me in this sutta is that there are opportune moments, that there is an opportunity in our life to become free and to end suffering, not just to medicate it or deal with it or put it to the side or kind of figure it out intellectually, but there's an opportunity to heal mental illness. I remember I was at a Korean temple that was very kind to, I just showed up there when I was in Korea after a meditation retreat, and they somehow let me stay there for a few days. And I saw on this fridge, because they did like international meditation retreats, and said on the fridge, warning, Buddhism and meditation do not cure mental illness. And I thought that was so strange because that's precisely what Buddhism is for. That's precisely what Buddhism and meditation are for. And I like to say wisdom-informed meditation. When we talk about Buddhist meditation. So yeah, that there are these unopportune moments, and it points to the immediacy of opportune moments. That you are a human being, that you are able to listen to the Dhamma. You are in the age of Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha. And if you are suffering and if you have these issues and difficulties, the Dharma can not just put a Band-Aid on the wound, but the Dharma can heal these wounds, can fix it, and in fact can fix the world, because we're all these people in the world with this poison of greed and fear and anger and just all of these non-practical, complicated thoughts that we have. And if we're able to recognize how much of an opportunity the Dharma is, we may choose to get much more involved with it. We may like throw this consumer, spectator, watcher, liker, disliker mindset in the trash and take up the position of being a lay Buddhist woman or a lay Buddhist man or a lay Buddhist person, or become a monastic, which is meant to be accessible. And we need more monastics in the world to help and to serve. So there's so much opportunity in the Dharma, but sometimes we're so used to the negative. We're so used to not having the opportunity that when the opportunity is there, we might really need to take it. Just like you got an offer for a very high-paying job, or you got the ideal relationship, that appeared out of nowhere, and you've got the opportunity to step into it. The Dhamma and the Buddha and the Sangha are also like that. And I think a lot of people who come to the Dhamma, they are suffering, and they're a special kind of person that is suffering because they recognize their suffering. And somehow we need to build more faith to recognize that this opportunity is the opportunity, that the Dhamma is the Dhamma, and that it's not vague, and that it's to be experienced directly, and that it works. And that this tradition of Buddhism as a school of philosophy, as a school of spirituality, is unparalleled. There's nothing that, you can't even really talk about it because it's such a stark contrast. There's no tradition of human philosophy or spirituality or religion that has done what Buddhism has done and sustained it up until this present day. Now, not every Buddhist is a Buddha, not every monk is enlightened or even skillful to teach the Dhamma, but we've got the idea right, and we know what to do. And when you do what the Dhamma teaches us to do, your mind will heal. Suffering will end, and that's for me, that's what this sutra is about. Pointing out these lack of opportunities, these inopportune moments, is kind of pointing the Buddha, whoever wrote this sutta, wherever it came from, it's pointing to the practitioner. It's saying, what kind of moment are you in? Are you a fool? Do you not have access to the Dhamma? Are you, an animal? Is the Buddha not in this era? And if you go through that list and you check through it, whoa, this is my opportunity. And you've got to take that opportunity, like a dog that sees a bone that still has meat on it. You've got to bite onto it and not let go as long as you can. And as long as you do that, you'll get an equal amount of benefit. So thank you for letting me share, Bhante.
Thank you, Venerable Bhante Varrapanyo, for sharing your sincere experience of the practice of Dhamma and sharing the insights with us. And it's really even inspiring to see the young Western monks like you devoting your life to the practice of Dhamma, and also how actively you're sharing Dhamma with others. And I know you follow Burmese Myanmar tradition, and you bring people closer to the practice of Dhamma. And of course, going through this list, we realize that actually we are not in the hell. We are not in the we are not the Pretas. We are not living in those divine realms that have long life. And we have the Dhamma, we have the monks, we have the temples, we have all the opportunities. We also have the lay devotees who are supporting us, actually. So I would like to go to next to Venerable Bhante Sanata Vihari. And I know Bhante Sanata Vihari, you also a young Western monk of Spanish tradition, and you're trying your best, and you're also traveling. You want to share Dhamma now. I really appreciate how Bhante Kusala put some stuff in the wall, in discussion wall. Looking at this, how can one understand the good Dhamma and not to miss out the opportunity? So I would like Bhante Sanata Vihari to share your sincere insights with us and how you see this.
Vandana Bhante, Vandana Venerables, thank you for this opportunity. I'm just reminded how many similes the Buddha gives us about how rare it is to be born as a human being. How rare it is to come across the Dhamma, right? So many similes, especially if we look like in the Samyutta Nikaya, like Bhante was saying. And in the Tibetan tradition, when they do their preliminary training in the Nyongdro training, in the first outer training they have to do is practice the recollection of the preciousness of human life. Like that's the very beginning. First, before you go into karma or before you go into meditation and all these things, you just need to know how blessed you are already, right? Like this miracle of a life that you have. Not until you understand the gravity of this great opportunity can you really even understand the Dhamma, right? First, you need to understand that you're so privileged, right? You're in this privileged place, privileged position. Then you can do the rest of the training. So it's a very beautiful thing that I noticed in the Tibetan tradition. But then I think to the audience that we're speaking to is kind of like speaking to the choir, right? Everyone that's watching this is a human, I assume, right? Most of the people have the privilege of listening to the Dhamma, right? Or they're Buddhist already, or they took refuge, or they took 5 precepts. So thinking about the group that we're talking to right now, I thought about another sutta from the Anguttara Nikaya called the Tomanatta Sutta, I think. And it goes, talks about there's 4 types of people, right? And the Buddha uses a simile of darkness and light. Right? So there's the people who are coming from darkness and going to darkness, right? People living just in complete ignorance and delusion, right? And they perpetuate this ignorance and delusion over and over and over again. So there's really like no hope for them, right? Even though they might be born as a human, they're coming with all this underlying tendencies of just delusion, ignorance, greed, and hatred. And they continue to do it. So their next birth, again, they're going to lose this opportunity of a human birth. Or if they're born as a human, they'll be born dumb, ugly, sick, etc. Right? As the sutta say. Then there's a person who was born in darkness, but recognizes their own delusion, right? Their own ignorance, their own greed and hatred. And they make an effort to move out of it, right? To make themselves better. So they go into light. So this person, they can, if they don't reach some sort of awakening in this life, they'll at least have a good rebirth as a human again, or be reborn in a heaven. They'll be reborn healthy, right? Famous, rich, handsome, etc. Then there's the people who are born into light. People who are very fortunate. Maybe they're born in a Buddhist country with Buddhist family, right? A lot of access to Dhamma, but they don't really get it, right? They just kind of ignore it. Like many traditional Buddhists, right? They come to America and they start misbehaving when they come to the West, right? Now I go to Australia, now I go to Canada, now I go to New Zealand, and I'm gonna just start partying. They forget about everything they learned in Sri Lanka and Vietnam and Thailand. And and so they come here, or they go somewhere in the West and they lose all their light and they start going into the darkness. And they can be reborn as in hell and the lower states, right? Or they can, if they're reborn as a human, again, they can be dumb, ugly, not famous, etc. But then there's the wise, right? The panditas, who recognize that they were born into privilege and light, that they have all these good conditions. There's so much Dhamma around them, right? And then because they recognize the importance of it, how rare it is to be born as a human, how rare it is to come across the Dhamma, how rare it is to have venerable monks, how rare it is to be healthy, how rare it is to be in a place where there's no war, there's no famine, like most of us here online right now. We're very privileged in our current situation. So they make an effort to make the most out of these good karmic conditions and continue going into light. So they try to make an effort to become awakened in this very life, or if not, have a good rebirth, or at least be reborn as a human again, where they can hear the Dhamma again, right? So I find like this is the place where most of us are here, the people that are listening, right? I think most of us are in the light right now, and let's keep going to light, right? I don't want to say anyone's going to darkness, but it's there. The darkness is very close to us, and it's very easy for us to go into the darkness, right? Especially the more privilege we have, we tend to be a little, I don't know, we make a lot of excuses, right? I got a lot to do. I'm very busy. I need to relax, etc., etc. And you start being a little naughty. So let's not lose the precious light that we have, the light of the Dhamma, the light of the Buddha, the light of the Sangha. And let's really make an effort to maintain at least what we have, and not go into a degenerate state, but make an effort actually to go forward, right? And recognize the privilege that we all have as being humans, being in a safe country where we have Zoom and internet and all these beautiful things, and we have each other, right? Kalyanamitta's here, which is the entire path. So just reflect on all these things, and actually your mind will become very happy. When you reflect on these things, you become joyous. You get all these piti, you get sukha, right? You get like motivated, you get hyped, like, wow, I'm so lucky. Like you just won the lottery, right? Like, and you just got the most beautiful partner, and you just got the most beautiful mansion. Like you have all the good things now. You're rich in Dhamma, which is the highest wealth. So think about that, right? Think about that, and you'll want to practice from joy, not because you're trying to be a good Buddhist or because the monks are guilt tripping you like I'm doing a little bit right now, but because you're happy. You're happy that you have this precious jewel, right? And you want to show it off to everyone. Like when you have a beautiful partner, like, oh, my beautiful partner, she's so beautiful, he's so beautiful. You want to show them off, right? So you have the Dhamma. They'll bring you joy. So we're telling you this so you can reflect, for you to be happy, not to guilt trip you or anything like that, to criticize you on your practice. But really, it brings you happiness when you recognize the privilege and the rarity of this condition that we're in right now. That's all I wanted to say, Bhante.
No, actually, thank you, Bhante Sanatavihara. You brought up a lot of interesting points, seriousness of the practice of Dhamma, why we should devote ourselves. Of course, we all give excuses, right? like, I'm too busy, or it's cold, it's raining today, it's too much, or it's an eclipse day, we should not be going out, we should stay in the room, and we have a lot of excuses. But looking at this sutra, I'm very happy that you gave the reference to that the sutra of the Anguttara Nikaya, where Buddha is saying, this is the moment to maybe do a personal reflection, re-evaluation of our life. Like, actually, what kind of life do I have? Am I heading towards the darkness, or am I heading towards the light, or am I heading from light to the darkness, or from the darkness to the light, or am I heading from light to light, or am I heading from darkness to darkness? So, of course, I say we human beings will never be free from responsibilities, duties, and this is the nature of the samsara, the life. And I think that there's somewhere in one of the sutras where Buddha is giving even a metaphor, simile. If let's say someone wants to take a bath in the ocean, and now this person goes to the beach and stands there, but he sees there are a lot of waves coming towards the shore. So if he waits or has the thinking, first let the waves stop, then I can get into the water and take a bath. Then this person will never get the opportunity to take a bath. Nature of this ocean is to create the waves. So our life is also like that, right? So I think that's what we monks actually, I'm very grateful, by the way, that you keep joining this discussion. The bi-weekly sutra discussion we started during the COVID time. We still continue. First of all, of course, personally, this is a great learning opportunity for me. By conducting this session, I'm learning from you. And this gives me great joy. And also, I know there are a lot of people around the world who greatly appreciate this program. They are very happy to see the monks from the West and the East coming together on one platform and discussing the Dhamma, different views. And that is the greatest joy I have. People are greatly appreciating your feedback, your presence here. And we are creating this unity among the monks. As Buddha says, Sukha Sangasa Samaggi. It is the great joy, happiness to have the unity of the monks. And here we have no limitation, no boundary. Oh, you're the Westerner, you are the Easterner. We don't have such boundaries. We are just disciples. We are dedicated to the practice of Dhamma. And of course, we all are busy, but despite that, we make time. And because it gives us the great opportunity to practice Dhamma in this way, it's also a group meditation practice for us. And then it gives us great joy. I think this is something that we should keep in mind as we continue. And in fact, I encourage, even I had a monk, he's a Canadian monk who just arrived from Japan. And I said, you should consider joining the discussion every, for this bi-weekly discussion. He said, yes, I want to, but I have this and that. But, there are people who greatly appreciate the presence of the Western monks together with the Eastern monks, and said, I received feedbacks like that. He actually joined a couple of times, and he got some people actually got to know him through this platform. So this is also another great opportunity for us, to do the networking. My whole purpose is to introduce all of you to the whole world, whoever is watching, so that they can invite you, they can learn Dhamma from you. They don't want to miss out the opportunity in this human life, to practice Dhamma. So what you're doing is amazing. I have to greatly appreciate you. So I see Bhante Kusala raising hand. What's in your mind, Bhante Kusala?
Bhante, well, I like to read the ending verses of the sutra.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
I thought there is a sense of urgency highlighted in some of the lines here.
Yeah.
So I don't like reading when it is the time for talking, but please take this as a poem. So it's a poem reading time for us. But I will read it anyway. There are those who acquire a human life at a time when the true Dhamma has been taught well, but who do not seize the opportunity, they miss the opportunity. It has been said that there are many circumstances where there is no opportunity for the path, and many obstacles instead. It is not often that the Buddha appear in the world. To be in the presence of one is so very rare in this world. If one is a human, when the true Dhamma is being taught, this is sufficient reason for those who care about themselves to put forth sincere effort. Try to understand the true Dhamma. Do not miss the opportunity. When the opportunity is gone, they sorrow, having arrived in hell. If one fails at this, the invariability of the true Dhamma, then like a merchant who fails to make a profit, one will be tormented for a long time. A person who is hindered by ignorance, who has transgressed against the true Dhamma, will continue to undergo the cycle of birth and death for a very long time. But those who acquire a human life at a time when the true Dhamma has been taught well, and who have enacted the teacher's instructions, or will enact them, or are currently enacting them, they know what an opportunity in the world is, the unsurpassed spiritual life. Those who practice the path taught by the Tathagata, those who are self-restrained and endowed with vision, who have been taught by the kinsman of the sun. See the connection with the eclipse here. The Buddha is called the kinsman of the sun, Surya Bandhu. They are always guarded, mindful, and uncorrupted. So who have been taught by the Buddha are always guarded, mindful, and uncorrupted. So the last one, having cut off all habits, they go beyond Mara's realm. They have gone beyond the world and reached the elimination of all corruptions. So having read that, I wanted to, since you also mentioned in the text message, bring a story. I like to bring the story of this monk, the empty boat story. I may have shared this before, but this highlights how a moment can be so important. So this monk was bothered by all the noises that he hear when he start meditating. Sometimes some monks can get into a complaining mind, and this monk was like that. So he wanted to find the quietest place to meditate, and he decided to go a solo trip to the middle of the ocean by a boat. So he took a boat trip to the middle of the ocean and he began meditating. Now this was a peaceful experience. He was super excited and his meditation was going so well. He was escaping noises, but then suddenly he started hearing noises. Something was hitting against his boat. So you can imagine that he went early in the morning and there was nobody around. But now maybe those fishermen who are busy doing their things are maybe they are around. So this monk began thinking, and he was noticing the frustration being built in his mind, but he was not ready to give up his meditation. But this voice continued, this noise continued coming, and he then fell into his old habits. The old habit is complaining and yelling and screaming at someone. So he was ready to scream, and he opened his eyes only to find out that what was hitting against his boat was just an empty boat. There was no person. There was no fisherman. His mind has built this story that didn't exist, that was not true. So to bring a moment of peace, all we had to do was to open eyes and see what was happening, and we wouldn't dwell too long in the story that the mind created and imagine people that didn't exist, imagine anything that didn't exist. Sometimes the reality and expectations, they have a huge gap between the two. The bigger the gap is, bigger the suffering is. So it only takes a moment. Like the Buddha said, ekang attapadang seyo yansutva upasammati. Just one word, and it only takes one moment to say one word that brings peace to a meeting, to a moment. If you are that person who is always bringing peace to a troubled moment, you are so precious, you are so rare in this world. You are the person who knows how precious one moment is. Let me share another story since we have little more time. This is from 10 years ago. This is from the monastic life. Just a little moment that meant so much to me over the years of living my life as a monk and reflecting on how important it is to have to be around some teachers. I remember about 10 years ago, when I first came to United States, I lived in Dhamma Sukha Meditation Center in Missouri. And at the time, Bhante Vimalaransi, late Venerable Bhante Vimalaransi around, and I was drawn to his Sutra teachings. And for me, as a Sri Lankan monk, I didn't have many opportunities to learn suttas in English. So this was my chance, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to learn these sutras. So I think what I'm doing now is kind of built on those experiences I had, but that is not my what I'm going to share. This one time, I remember I was being told, I was told by Bhante Vimalaransi to train Samaneri Sister Kema. She was a novice nun and she had no much training at the time. And this didn't go well. Although later we had such a close bond, but you can imagine me not being such a good teacher and she not being such a good student. They are both gone now. But sometimes we may not know how to train someone, and we may try to do it thinking that we know. But this one time we both went into a deep argument about something. And then we both kind of went, she went to Bhante V and complained about it. So I was called, and she and I were both in his cabin. And she was talking and talking and talking, and I was responding to some of it. And then the problem was gone. Bhante Vimalaransi did not say anything. And the problem is solved. There was a moment I realized how, without speaking a single word, sometimes it only takes some time, and Sister Kema and I, we just left the cabin laughing and bonded. And so sometimes, this is the kind of moment that teaches that, sometimes it's not in the words, it is in the unspoken, it is in that moment, in that opportunity that we see that there is this transformation that happens. Only when we are ready and we have created conditions for us to be able to see that. So I'm so deeply grateful for these moments, and I do definitely revisit them in any current or future. I want to visit them in future teaching opportunities to practice silence, to be present, to bear witness, to deeply listen, not to the words, but also to the pauses, to the moments of silence, to that frustration. And I do want to share one more thing. I ordained temporarily ordained this novice monk, and he was so frustrated once, and he said, he's frustrated that he can't keep this robe on, and he wants to keep his robe perfectly on his body, but it falls off. And he was so angered by this experience, so he dropped the robe, just dropped it to the ground. Then he reached out to me, and I said, take this as venerable frustration, respectable frustration. It's so good to see the Dhamma behind this frustration, to see the dependently arising nature of this frustration, to see that it's not yours, to see that you can disengage with it and not own it and not be controlled by it. And this brought peace to him, and he had a peaceful time with frustration, not only with the rope, but also with other moments of frustration. Look at every, this very frustration, this very anger, this whatever is your teacher. Whatever is bothering you, whatever is irritating you, that is your teacher. Look at it as something venerable, something so respectful, and you can immediately see the relief and the rest that your mind can gain at that moment. I believe that helps. These three incidents and kind of somewhat distantly related, but somewhat related stories will teach you something. Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah, these are great stories. Thank you for sharing with us, telling us those stories. And I think what's really bothering is the typical weakness we have. This is the weakness that's creating more dukkha, more suffering in our life. And even how people keep holding grudges, hurting others, annoying others, and never forgiving, and being stubborn and so forth. And so this is, and later on, something happens terrible, and they regret. And I know recently, one of our students of meditation class came to talk to me, and she has a client, and she's terribly sick, and then she needs the family, but at the same time she said no to them. And they want to visit her, and they know what really happened. But being sick, terribly sick, and getting diagnosed with the cancer, still holding grudges. So, and now our students are asking me, but how can I help them? I said, okay, just go and talk to her every day, talk about this. And and this is the typical weakness that she has, and making her more miserable. Maybe talking about like the karma, the of the Abhinna Paccavekkitabba Sutta, where Buddha is encouraging 5 things to reflect. One of them is the karma. So I said maybe indirectly you can openly talk about this notion of karma, and so that way she might be able to forgive. And then she went there and talked to her, and then she said that she was considering forgiving them, and she took the biggest steps to allow them to come, and then when the relative family members came, they embraced, they talk about what happened, and saying sorry to one another, and they forgive each other. And after that, she felt so much relieved, and and then of course she died, and at that moment all the family members were around her, and they said she died peacefully, I think. And so this is the power of the Dhamma. I think this is something that we should not forget to practice, and this opportunity. Now imagine if she were to miss this opportunity, maybe her afterlife could have been affected because of so much anger and hatred towards the family members. So I think Dhamma works. So here, actually, just to summarize what we discuss in this sutta, and now we are not in hell, we are not in the animal realm, we are not in the Preta world, and we are not in the divine world, Brahma, where they have long lives, and also we have a lot of devotees who are supporting us whenever we travel, like followers. They take care of you. Even yesterday something happened. Actually, I was flying back to Toronto from New York to LaGuardia. There was a devotee. She works for her at the airport. When she saw me, she rushed and kind of, Bhante, can I? Apparently, she she follows me in the social media. So I said, can I? I'm so happy. I don't want to miss this opportunity. I want to buy you a cup of tea or coffee with some chocolate. I said, no, I'm full. No, I don't want to miss this opportunity. So that was great, So even like I know when you travel to different countries, like it's a Venerable Sanata Vihari, Venerable Varrapanyo, Venerable Trida, Venerable Bhante, wherever you're traveling. And of course, you have followers there who are supporting you, taking care of you, providing you all the needs. So we got all these opportunities. And also, as for monks, we have all these opportunities. And lay people also have such great opportunity to learn Dhamma, to practice Dhamma, to offer dana to the monks, support the monks. We have programs, and here, thanks to modern technology, we are also creating this opportunity to learn Dhamma, to practice Dhamma. And so we have all these opportunities. I think then this sutta is giving us a strong warning. We should not miss out any of these opportunities. In fact, we all are privileged to have all these privileges found in this sutra. We should devote our time and energy to the practice of Dhamma. And I think today we had such an amazing discussion on this sutra on this eclipse day, and also we on this International Buddhist Day. So we did something amazing, and as Bhante Kusala says again, don't wait for the opportunity, create it. Yeah, we have to create the opportunity, and that's why we create this opportunity for everyone. Whoever joins, I know there are a lot of people, but monks and nuns, they are giving me all kinds of excuses. They have the other commitments. That's true, but this is also very important for us to come together to talk about Dharma. So I'm very grateful to all of you. We don't have anyone to recite the Ovada Patimokkha verses. So I would like to recite the Ovada Patimokkha verses. So, Sabba papassa akaranang kusalassa upasampada sacitta pariyodapanang etang buddhana sasanang Khanti paramang tapotitikha Nibbanang paramang vadanti buddha Nahi pabbajito parupagati Nasamano hoti parang vihetayanto Anupavado anupaghato Patimokhecha sangvaro Tasmin Pantancha Sayanasanang Adhichitte cha ayoga Etang buddhana sasanang Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So once again, I'm very grateful to all of you, venerables, and also our lay devotees. Thank you for joining this bi-weekly discussion. And this means a lot for us and also for all the people who are watching this program. So I'm wishing you nothing but all the blessings of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha for your health and safety. May Devas, celestial beings, continue to protect and guard all of you with the divine blessings for your health and safety. Sabbe Satta Bhavantu Sukhidatta. May all sentient beings be well, happy, and peaceful. With this in mind, I would like to conclude today's 76th bi-weekly Sutra discussion, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks' time. Until then, be well, and good night from Toronto, Canada. Bye-bye.